Hello and welcome to episode 55 of the Back Nine Six Pack. My name is Mitch, joined as always by my esteemed colleague Justin. We have a ton to get to tonight. It is a major championship week, the PGA Championship at Valhalla. We will be boots on the ground on Friday. Super excited about that. But first, we got to hear what the people want to know about. Our guy played in the Clovernook Open this past week, an amateur in a professional field. We saw the scores. We've heard the stories of the putting woes, but we want to hear it straight from the horse's mouth here. This is your time on the record, official Clovernook Open statement from Justin Epier.
Yeah. So really, the only way to break it down, I came shot out of a cannon both days, right? And honestly, I'm a prototypical slow starter. Like I kind of, if I'm making pars at the beginning, like I'm good with that. But typically, I don't get off to really good starts and kind of get behind the eight ball, and then I've kind of got to make up ground. Both rounds, Wednesday, start out 2 under through 6. Wheels started coming off. Putting started to kind of show its face a little bit. Missed some short putts. Had some 3 putts. Ended up shooting 76 on Wednesday after starting out 2 under through 6. The putter just never allowed me to make up for some. Like, we're all going to make bad swings, right? Especially as an amateur golfer. Just never I never made up for mistakes with a putter or getting up and down or anything like that. And a lot of it had to do was I hit some pretty good pitch shots, just could never get the ball in the hole. Wednesday, I started out 2 under through 2, make a putt on number 2, I think from like 12 feet. Again, off to a great start. Wheels came off even faster this time. Didn't even make it through 6 holes before the bogey train came roaring its head. And again, I putted so bad. Like, had a 4 putt. I had a 4 putt on 15. I had like 3 putts leading up to that 4 putt. And it just, the putter just sucked. Any momentum I ever gained just got sucked. The air got sucked right out of the room by the putter. Make a birdie, hit a good drive, hit a green, 3 putt. It just never allowed me to kind of build off of that. And shot 77 the second day, and it was. This is what I took out of it. The 2 guys I play with, great guys. One won the Ohio Open last year. Michael Balcar, extremely talented golfer. I mean, dude just pounds the ball, and his dispersion rates are not very large. And he's hitting driver, 315, 310 carry. It was truly something to watch. I mean, he shot 65 the first day, probably should have been a 62. And then Andrew Arft, great guy. Another kind of guy that doesn't have any tour affiliation, but he's won professional events. But the biggest takeaway is, those guys get into trouble. Any professional golfer gets into trouble. And their short game is what we would imagine would happen on our best, very best day chipping and putting the ball. That's how good their short game is. And that was the biggest difference. I mean, I had 77 putts in 2 days. I mean, you want to talk about just sucking all the energy you have out of your body. I mean, it truly, truly, truly is a momentum killer when you're putting the ball that much. I mean, I didn't hit the ball perfect, but I never really got into a lot of trouble. So it's kind of hard to do out there, honestly. But never really got in a lot of trouble. But man, the putts, just so many of them. So many putts.
77 putts. That's an entire round's worth of shots just in putts.
Yeah.
That's tough. That's not good.
You would almost thought that I was trying to putt that bad, how bad I was putting. I did sell a putter, but I did not sell the putter that I used in the tournament. Just for clarification, that might have came off a little weird.
Okay.
I am in the process of buying a new putter, maybe just a change of pace. We'll see. Yeah, we'll see. But the biggest thing I took away is in stretches of holes, I hit the ball better, or just about as good as these guys at times, I had some flashes with the putter where I made some good putts, but like on a consistent level of like not getting myself short-sighted and putting the golf ball, I'm just nowhere close to these guys, right? Like it's truly amazing how far away I am. Um, and like again, we're talking about guys. We're not talking about guys that are playing on the PGA Tour, right? These are guys that are no tour. Most of them have no tour affiliation, and that is just really just how deep golf talent is, right? It is truly amazing. That's what I really took away from it. It's like, you got guys out here. Some of them we knew, right? Just following golf and following Monday qualifiers and things like that. But a lot of them we didn't. And dude, it's just crazy how talented some of these guys are. And it was a joy to kind of sit back and watch. Michael ended up making the cut that I played with. Andrew didn't play his best golf, but man, like when he goes, yeah, I shot 63 in this event. I'm like, I'm not surprised by that. Truly not. Like the way the ball came off his putter, it's like I could see you getting into a stretch where you just make every putt you look at. Like that's how good his stroke was. But I had fun, man. It was such a good learning experience, and that's what it's all about, right? Played in the U.S. Open qualifier last year. Said it was going to be a learning experience, and it was. So started to play really good golf after that. That's what we're going to kind of take from this is, on to my next tournament's not for about a month, but yeah, it was a great learning experience. And shout out to the Wederick family. Some of you probably heard that name because their uncle's Brett, who played on the PGA Tour, but they're three brothers. They put it on with correlation with the club. And Dave Miller, who was the tournament director, they just put, for a mini tour event to have $100,000 purse is truly incredible. Gives opportunity to these guys to actually win some real money, unlike playing for a pot of like $20,000 and the winner gets $5. The winner got $20,000. So shout out to them for putting on an awesome event and Willie Mack getting the win in a 6-man playoff, which was just electric, by the way.
Yeah, crazy. So I'm just curious how you felt about this because I looking at your scores. Between the 2 days that you played, you were 2 under in the first 6, right?
Yeah.
You ended up shooting, I think, 11 over total. So you were 13 over total in your other 24 holes?
Yeah.
Was it, do you feel like you got tired or lost focus, or it just truly was just like a couple holes and some loss of concentration or something?
Yeah, what I felt like after both rounds is like, like if you get one paper cut, it's like, oh man, that hurt. Okay, whatever. It felt like I got paper cut 1,000 times, and eventually just like this hurts. Like, why is this happening? It truly felt like I got paper cutted like 1,000 times, and like 998 of them were from the putter. Like it's like, I don't want to make it sound like I hit the ball like unbelievably good because I did not. Like I had some wild swings. Um, I don't want it to sound like that, but I never got in trouble to where I couldn't get out of it. Like I never got myself into a lot of trouble where it's like, oh man, like par is going to be a really good number here. I maybe had like one hole that way. The rest of it was just tiny mistakes over and over and over again. And like the professional golfers, they just don't make those tiny mistakes. Even the guys that don't have tour affiliation, like they just don't make boneheaded things like hit a par 5 and 2 and then 3 jack, right? They just don't do that stuff. And I did a lot of that stuff. So yeah. And it can't be understated. Some of these pins were crazy hard, which they had to make it that way. These guys would have the winner shot 11 under in 3 days. If they had easy pins, the winner would have been like 19 under. But it just goes back to like being a good sound putter when pins are tough is all the difference in the world. It's the difference between doing what I did and, doing what probably some of the guys near the lead did. So, but again, learning experience. So that's what we're chalking it up to.
All right. 2 questions to get off of this. One, outside of any 4 putts or just horrendous putts, like what was the worst shot that you hit that you were just like, oh shit?
I'm trying to think like worst shot like outside of putting. Man, there was a yeah. I mean, it either had to be the first day I hit a 3-wood on 16 that like I hit thin and it kind of I had to hit over like a hill a little bit but it wasn't that steep of a hill and it clearly like I thinned it and it hit into the hill and like kind of skipped off of it. That was a pretty bad like that was a really bad swing. Um it probably have to be either that one or I had one on 12 the first day. Hit it. It's a short par four. You don't really where the tee box was. You don't really need much. You can hit driver, I guess, if you really wanted to, but from that tee box doesn't make a lot of sense. Dude, I just smothered and covered one right into a tree. Um, Actually, I completely forgot about this because this was my last hole of my tournament. On 18, it's a short drivable par four. I smothered and covered another one into the tree about 100 yards off the tee box. It made it over the lake, hits another tree, and apparently kicked back into the water because the guys in front of us were like, "It's in the drink. Like you have to drop." That one might have
Oh,
been the worst actually. To really cap it off. So, and I almost forgot about it because it was my
that's
last hole of the whole of the tournament. So,
yeah. At least they were nice enough to send you your "you did not make the cut" text. That was classy.
I did make it the Friday because of weather, technically.
There you go. Final question. Get out of here on a high note. This could be a shot or anything else, but like best moment from the event, like what stands out to you just from playing in it.
Uh, getting I did get a chance to like briefly meet Chase Johnson, who played in Riv tournament this year. I thought, and being around those guys, just like being around and seeing how people carry themselves was truly like pretty cool. Like these guys carry themselves like they're going to be on the PGA Tour next week, and seeing how guys warm up and kind of go about their business before a round of golf. The second day I warmed up with a beer, no range balls, just straight to the patio, had a beer. None of those guys were doing that, but the two guys I played with, I after about 12 holes the first day, I was like, look, I'm going to sit back and like learn from these guys because they clearly know something that I don't. And it was just fun to watch of like how they just kind of go about their business on a golf course, and that was my biggest takeaway. I was that to me was really cool because you don't get that in amateur golf. There's some really good amateur golfers, don't get me wrong, but watching a professional kind of go about his day on the job was really cool to me anyway.
No, I could definitely see that because I mean, look, since you've been out of or not professional, but your collegiate days of playing, like you've been hanging out with us idiots playing golf. Like you don't really get to see like you're
Yeah,
not around a bunch of really good competitive golfers all the time. Whereas like on our end, I'm a 7 or whatever, and you're a plus. Like you're probably the best golfer that I personally know. So it's kind of like that for me watching you. But like to your point, like obviously these guys are another level from
dude,
what you
like
do. So it's
it
like
was
it's really it's got to be night and day.
it was like you just like the two guys I played with are look they're incredible golfers. And like I said, they on any given day they can shoot in the low 60s. And watching them play is like holy crap! Like these it's like two of the best golfers I've ever played golf with, right? Like to think about that is kind of crazy because that doesn't happen every day. In amateur golf or anything like that. Like I've played with some really good players, but like watching these guys hit balls, I'm like, dude, like they just like they don't miss the sweet spot. Like we miss hit shots. Like these guys don't, man. They barely miss hit shots, and it's truly crazy to watch. Yeah, but it was funny. Like the first day, the guy's like, "Oh, like kind of ask and think I was professional or whatever." And I was like, "Dude, this guy has no clue. Like, he has no clue. Like, I worked this morning. I was in an office, like working a job, and I had a dentist appointment that morning. Like, I went from the dentist to work to here, um, which probably was like he was probably not expecting that. Playing with somebody that had worked their normal job that day. So
Yeah. Oh man, that's so good. All right. Well, I mean, I told you last time, but definitely proud of you for doing it, getting out there and seeing what you got against guys like that. Hey, if you are here, please subscribe, rate, and review the show. We're also on YouTube, our YouTube channel at Backline Sixpack. Follow us on Instagram at Backline Sixpack as well. And hey, if you want to shoot us an email, back9sixpack@gmail.com with the number 9 in there on all of those, by the way. More of our golf before we get into the pros and the PGA Championship here. We are quickly approaching, the prime peak of golf season here. May into June and July, right in the heart of it all. Wednesday Night League is back. We're hitting up all of our regularly scheduled, outings and scrambles that are coming up on the calendar. Some of our annual traditions, if you will. You are making a grand return to Covered Bridge, a place we've not been since 2021.
Yeah,
As you mentioned, they might have your picture on the wall. I'm not sure if you're going to be allowed in. But that is the home of the best shandies we've had in our entire lives, and I'm kind of nervous for you. This could be like a true, the myth or the mythological nature of them might disappear if they don't live up to the hype.
Yeah, I'm wondering, man. I like we left that place on such a high note, and I remember so many fond things about that place. I'm like, is it going to live up to the hype that I built up in my brain over 3 years? But I'm excited. I feel like I'm a little worried they might have a picture of me in the clubhouse, but we're gonna he can play golf here. He just can't come in here kind of situation. So I'm really excited to get back there. I don't really remember a ton about the course just because we're kind of on a trip and you don't really remember stuff like that. But I'm excited to play it again.
Yeah, it was. We played it in early April and it had snowed on our way down. So this was day 2 of our trip, and it might have been the best weather we had. Honestly, it was the most sun.
Yeah,
But course was kind of soggy. We got winter swings going. So I'm excited for you to get out there in May and hopefully get some good weather and in the lead up to the PGA Championship. So that'll be sweet. I'm playing with Nick and Gunth and our boy Zach. We just met last week at the bachelor party at Potters Park. Of course, I've literally not played since high school golf.
Oh, God.
Got a little scramble action for the Fairfield Football / Cobblestone Tavern golf outing. 4-man scramble. We're gonna go low. That's the goal, obviously. And then just we're 3 weeks out from our traditional Phil Wyan outing at Fairfield South Trace Golf Course. So we got a ton of golf with the boys coming up here in the next few weeks, which is very, very exciting.
Very exciting, considering we've not played on a Saturday yet this season. Very excited about the golf opportunities we've got coming up, just everybody together. Side note, if you do not know what Potters Park is, look it up. It's the purest form of golf. It's like an old muni. It's not very long. And Jack Nicklaus actually has the course record there, if I'm not mistaken, from a junior golf tournament. So
yeah, I think they have a statue of him up there, don't they?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think he shot like
crazy
10 or 11 under or something like that. In a junior tournament out there back in the 60s, I'm assuming. So, if you have never heard of it, look it up. It's a cool course.
Yeah, worth a trip. I'm excited to get back. Different person now compared to who I was then. I probably was wearing freaking cargo shorts out there last time I played it.
Yeah, you were. 100% chance of you wearing cargo shorts.
It's literally if you think about it, it's 20 years, man. It's crazy.
That's nuts.
We're old.
Very.
Anyway, all right. I think it's about that time. It is time to talk some PGA Championship at Valhalla in Louisville, an hour and a half, 2 hours down the road from where we are here in Cincinnati. You guys are heading down Thursday, like we talked about, play Covered Bridge. I will meet you guys down there that evening in preparation for what is hopefully a rain and storm-free Friday at Valhalla. I'm concerned, I won't lie, but who knows? Maybe we'll get out there and it'll be fine.
Yeah, I have my concerns as well. The good news is we don't have the PGA Tour making our decisions for us with rain ale days. So I trust the PGA of America to make the right decisions, and Yeah, let's just hope we don't have to deal with it. That's probably the best way to go about it.
Yeah, I have it. It feels like almost every single big event this year has had something weather related. They just cannot catch a break.
Yeah, it's been bad, and I just and the PGA Championship weather last year up in Rochester was not great. It looks like though Friday is the only day with like a legit chance of rain. It looks like the rest of the weekend's supposed to be perfect, but for our sake, I'm a little selfish. I really hope the rain holds off, and at least we get to watch at least a half a day of golf at the very minimum.
Yeah, we know how to bring the rain with us. That's for sure. Also, literally, the worst thing that happens at major championship, the one thing that can suck the energy right out of it is weather. Like you're just pumped to get the TV on, you're streaming featured groups, you're doing all, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, play is suspended,
Oh, but
and then you're just constantly checking. You got the red alert on the app. It's the worst. Nothing sucks the energy out of it
and then you're
more than that.
watching, like if you're just getting to it, you're like watching golf. You're like, oh yes, okay, it's on. And then like you see that little thing in the like bottom corner. It's like aired earlier, and you're like, fuck, like god dang it,
Yeah,
like this isn't even live. Like yeah, there's really nothing that can suck the air out of a major like that than the rain. Um, but I think that regardless, I think we're going to see a lot of golf because it's not like a solid rain the whole day. It's kind of like one of
yeah,
those getting into summer, chance of pop up thunderstorms because it's going to be, relatively warm and some humidity. So I think, if we do have delays, it's not going to be like crazy long. And they're not supposed to get a ton of rain down there this week. So hopefully it's like relatively dry, so the water, is not an issue where it's going to be super soggy or anything like that. So that's the hope, anyway.
yeah. What's our protocol here? Are we taking umbrellas, rain gear? Or we're not doing golf shoes, right? Can't do it.
Oh God, no, 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 no,
Okay.
no. I am an anti golf shoe at a golf tournament guy. Unless you're playing,
Yes.
um, they're not even acceptable for caddies. I know that sounds weird. Like the only ones that are acceptable for a caddy to wear are like maybe like the Air Jordans, like the low top,
Yeah. Okay.
because those are essentially gym shoes. But like you can't wear golf shoes. Like I know with a chance of rain, you're going to be tempted to do it because they're waterproof, but you just cannot do it. I'm a raw dogger, okay? Like I don't go with an umbrella. I don't go with a poncho. Like I'm at a golf tournament. Like if it rains, I'm going to be wet, right? Like it just is what it is. I don't like carrying stuff with me. I just don't like doing that.
Yeah.
Like I don't want to carry a jacket with me. I don't want to carry an umbrella with me. I'd rather be wet than carry stuff when it's not raining.
I think I might be with you. I'm gonna be the guy that packs all in my truck and then just leaves it there. You know what I mean? Like I'm not gonna actually take it with me. It'll be with me, but I will not take it into the tournament.
Yeah, it's just a pain in the butt, dude. Like I would rather be cold and wet than to carry a jacket around with me when it's not like, oh, I got this just in case it rains. Because my luck, I'd bring it in and it would never rain. So now I'm just carrying this jacket
Yeah.
around, looking like an idiot, or I got to tie it around my waist like a third grader, out at recess. Like I'm just not gonna do it. I'd rather be wet.
Yeah. No, for sure. All right. We haven't even talked about this at all, so we're gonna just hash this out live. Game plan for the day. We're getting there early, right? We're gonna get there pretty much when the gates open.
Yep.
Uh, what do you think? Do we just figure out what Jay's tee time is, and we're walking with Jay for all 18? Or are we gonna try to pick our spots? What do you think?
Yeah. So game plan. Yeah, get their gates open. Depending on when Jay goes off, I mean, at the very minimum, I want to watch him for 9 holes. If it works out where like tee times, like big names that we maybe don't go off or whatever for a little bit between there, we may catch them for like 12 or 13 holes. I'll be honest, you may know this better than I don't really know like when I go to the Memorial, I know the setup of the golf course. Like, hey, we'll follow this guy to 7 and then like, or whatever, follow this guy to 9 and maybe through 11 and then cut over. I don't know the setups of this golf course. I've looked at a map and still kind of can't figure it out, like what cut throughs there are or anything like that. So I guess we'll see. Is the best way to answer that.
Yeah. I don't know much about the course other than a few, you remember like 18 and a few holes out there just because the events have been played here. But yeah, the only thing I've heard is really that there's like some pretty good, like the way the course is set up is there's some pretty good like high points basically. Like they've got it where there's some mounding or some stadium like feels or whatever around some of the holes. So we might be able to find a spot that, has a view of some good spots or several holes if we want to follow some feature groups or whatever. But yeah, I'm with you. We got to be, with Jay and Grayson coming off the top 10 at the Wells Fargo. I checked his stats, struggled a bit off the tee, but he was 15th in approach around the green and putting. So, maybe the game's rounding into form here. That's, all around game is kind of what you need at Valhalla. So might be a nice little cut sweat action or whatever, following the boys out there.
Heck yeah. I think I'm going to make that bet, him to make the cut. It feels like a good bet. Top 60 in the world now. Needs to get in the top 50 to make it into the Open. Seems like his best way of qualifying for the Open, but he keeps playing like that. You top 10s and signature events and stuff like that. And yeah, if you get a top 20 in a major, it almost might solidify his spot in the Open. So, but yeah. Either way, it's going to be fun for us to watch Jay out there doing his thing in the biggest of biggest platforms. So we at least got to do nine of that at the very minimum. And it might be a situation where we like, hey, we'll catch them on the back nine or something like that because they do go off both tees too. So
yeah,
it might be something like that.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. It's every time we talk about it, it's still crazy. It's like literally less than a year ago, we were at the Barbasol watching him loop out there. One of like 6 people on the ropes for the entire round. Like, and now it's about to be at a major championship. Just unbelievable. Just massive shout out to Jay.
Yeah, I remember it's like there were so few people following that group that I made friends with one of the moms of one of the players he was playing with. So yeah, massive career shift for sure. Yeah, I don't even know what you can compare it to. So
yes, something tells me he's not going to be handing us waters over the ropes all day long this time around.
Not going to be happening on a major, I'm assuming.
No, might be a little busy. All right, we're about 30 minutes in now, so I think it's time we can. I think we found our rhythm here with these majors, kind of running a little buy or sell segment to get us through these, kind of the main storylines going in, rather than just lining them all up. So we are starting off, coming off of 2 wins in a row now, albeit one a team event. Rory McIlroy in prime form, heading into a major at a place of the site of his last major victory almost 10 years ago. Are you buying or selling Rory finally capturing his 5th major?
It is not at Augusta, so I'm going to buy. Let's
go.
Yeah, look, I don't care that the Zurich is a team event. You saw his form there, and then you saw him at just this week at the Wells Fargo. He was won the PGA at this course. Just seems like too good to be true. Almost like if you could draw a script up for him to get another major victory, this is where it should be at. But it's not at Augusta, so I'm definitely buying this.
Yeah, absolutely. This is kind of making the rest of the questions moot, honestly. But we can still talk through them. But yeah, I was talking with one of my coworkers, Will. He's one of the bigger Rory fans that I know. So he stopped by today and we were chatting. So shout out to Will. Rory's like the ultimate vibe golfer.
Yeah.
Like once he kind of gets it going, he gets that bounce in the step, the swagger's back, the putter's rolling. You just got to ride it until it crashes and burns. And I think that you're right. That playing in that event with Shane Lowry just for the vibes alone has freed him up a bit.
Got him back.
If it's not now, then I don't know when it's going to be.
Yeah. Again, like it was almost like the people that set the major venues and tour schedule was like, we're drawing this up to like hand it to Rory, right? Taking him back to Valhalla. Yeah, it just seems like almost too perfect. And like he's going to be one of the guys I bet. I know his odds aren't going to be great coming off of quote unquote 2 victories in a row, but man, it just seems too perfect. It really just seems too perfect. And maybe the bull will buck us. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, I think he's currently plus 750. He was kind of in that plus 1,000, plus 1,200 range before the win. Sorry, I had to fire that up. But yeah, I'm all in too. All right, Scotty Scheffler. Apparently, the kid has been born. There's been no like really official report, although I think maybe today somebody finally said, yeah, they've had the kid. Sounds like he's going to be there. DraftKings doesn't have odds up right now. I'm not sure why. I don't. But maybe that leaves some room for doubt for Scotty to show up. I don't know, but I would expect him to be there if he's not already on the ground at the time of us recording this. Buying or selling, Scotty Scheffler keeping the Grand Slam hopes alive.
There's nothing like in your life of having a kid, even for a superhuman of his caliber. I'm gonna sell this one. Man, look, bringing a life into the world and sleeping on the dad bed in the hospital, albeit probably a week ago, it takes time to adjust to something like that. So I'm selling this for the only reason of being, even he cannot get over the hump of becoming a brand new dad.
Yeah, I mean, look, I imagine he's incredibly focused. It's still just such, like you said, such a massive life change. Forget about he's a little tired or whatever, all that stuff. Just the way that it like emotionally and mentally affects you. It's got to be so hard to stay locked in for a freaking major championship. I mean, if anyone's going to do it, it's him. I mean, this is truly like I'm scared because this had to be what it was like all those years with Tiger at the top, right? And just like, well, I don't know how you could ever bet a golf tournament when Tiger Woods was in the field because of this. So, it's terrifying. He's still a plus 400 favorite. But yeah, I think if there's any time to sell, it's now. So I'm with you. I'm going to sell on Scotty keeping it alive. He's the guy that would do it though. But if I have to pick, I'm selling. All right, this one's simple. Brooks Koepka repeating, buying or selling.
Look, I already know I bought, the Rory thing, but I think is kind of just going down the lines of who I'm going to bet this week. I'll buy it, man. Like, you can't ever go into a major and just be like, this guy's not going to win, because it's more than not, like, especially the way he's been playing, it seems like he's kind of rounded into form. More times than not, that's gonna bite you if you go against him. So I'm buying Koepka having a legitimate chance on Sunday of winning this major.
Yeah, same. If it's a PGA Championship or U.S. Open, Brooks should be in the mix, and I'm gonna be there for it too. I think this would be his 4th Wanamaker Trophy if he were to win it. I mean, he's only won those 2 majors of the 4. Yeah, incredibly live here. Looking back at the data and just listening to some different podcasts and stuff, like everything points to driving distance and par saves, that kind of thing. I mean, it's right up Brooks' alley.
Yeah,
this course should fit him perfectly. So,
yep,
yeah, I expect him to be right there in the mix. I honestly, if I could dial up a script here, I want to have. I said it for the Masters too. I want to have the Brooks Rory showdown. So,
hell yeah!
I think in one of these majors this year, we will finally get it. I'm hoping it's this one.
Especially,
okay.
By the way, hold on. Especially after the Rory being like super pissed that Brooks got his 5th in the Full Swing episode. We need it. We need it. Shoot it directly into my veins. That's what I want.
Yeah, and there's been I've seen a few videos. I think it was Dylan Deshure did like one of those video sessions he does with these guys sometimes was with Brooks. Might have been over the winter even. And there were some clips coming out where like, he looks at Rory like as a true like rival, like they're the same age. He just passed him in majors. They're kind of jockeying for that like best player of this generation mark right now. So yeah, I would love to see it come down the stretch with a trophy up for grabs between the two of them.
Absolutely.
All right, this one's a little sad. I feel like there's no hype around this, no conversation around this, purely because he just straight up isn't playing well. Jordan Spieth is plus 9,000 to win the PGA Championship, which would mean he would complete the career Grand Slam. I assume we're selling this, right? We can't get fooled again, right?
But I'll tell you this: at those odds, it's just too juicy not to take. Like, I'm going to take it. Like, if Vegas wants me to take it, I'm going to take it. Like 90-1, sign me up. Like, sign me up for my guy. Like, look, I know I am willingly flushing that money down the toilet. I know what I'm doing. I'm looking at the blackjack dealer and telling him, I know I'm taking a hit on 20, but I'm going to bet it. I'm selling this, but I'm going to bet it.
That is a great, excellent analysis there. Sell but buy, basically, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Oh my God, you're right. The number's too enticing, but it's just like, I don't know. It's one of those where maybe it's just like, dude, if you're gonna do it, I'm just gonna be excited about it happening. Even if it's like $5, I don't even know if that's worth it right
Hell
now.
yeah,
It's
it
like,
is. It's always worth
look,
it. The juice is always worth the squeeze with him.
I'm always down to ride that roller coaster, so you don't have to tempt me too hard here. Yeah, it might be a few nickels on our king Jordan Spieth for this tournament, but man, 90-1 just blew my mind. Shout out to Trevor, he texted to me, and I was like, "There's no way! I can't even believe we've gotten here." All right, buying or selling a first-time major winner, that I have on here purely because there are some guys in the top, 6 to 10 on the odd sheet that are, have been playing well, still looking for their first. Xander is plus 1,400. Ludwig coming off the knee injury situation, the precautionary withdrawal, but a second place at the Masters last time out. He's plus 2,000. And then Max also contending at the Masters, continuing to show more major form, plus 3,500. I don't know. I think I'm going to sell. It really feels like one of the big dogs is going to come up here and grab this thing this time, to me. But I don't know. What do you think about a first-time major winner here?
Yeah, it just doesn't feel like a course that's going to happen on, especially, like we just talked about 18. Like, even if one of those guys, look, I think Ludwig is a generational talent. If anybody's going to do it, it'd probably be him because he kind of showed no fear at the Masters. Just doesn't feel like one of those tournaments. It really doesn't. So I'm definitely selling this. Yeah. Look, I think Ludwig probably gets a top 5. I think this course sets up really well for him, but I don't think there's any course that sets up bad for him. But yeah, I'm selling this. This does not feel like a venue that a first timer is going to win at.
Yeah, I think with Ludwig, I'm with you. Like, obviously the talent, he has it all to win multiple majors. But just like this one coming off who knows what the knee is like. It's probably fine, but just enough for me to be like, no, I don't think so. I worry about Max's length and accuracy a little bit on a place like Valhalla. And Xander we just saw it again this past weekend. Like, when the time was there for him to go win a tournament and put his foot down, he just got freaking steamrolled by Rory for one. That's going to happen. But also, it's not like he was playing well either. He was kind of pissing shots away left and right on his own. So, yeah, I'm thinking it's one of the big guys. It's already got one in the bag who's going to go up and get this one. Last but not least, because it's always a topic of discussion, Taylor Gooch. He got the special exemption into the field. Didn't have to go out and qualify this one because he wasn't going to try if he had to. Is he going to make the cut? I feel like this is legitimate major championship life or death for Taylor Gooch. Got to show something if you're him.
I'm going to buy. I think he makes the cut.
Okay.
I think the one thing that we all kind of get lost in the whole conversation is like, these guys, they're not, the live guys aren't playing like ho-dunk, chip and putts, right? Like, legitimately at one point last year, he was one of the best golfers in the world. Now, is he still at that same form? No, but when you're talking about making the cut, like, I think that's a feasible thing for him to do. Now, what he does after that cut is a whole nother story, but yeah, I'm buying this for sure.
I am absolutely selling the shit out of this one.
Oh, disagreement.
I think if your mentality is you're not going to go try to qualify for the U.S. Open, you're not going to go try to qualify for the Open Championship, and you just want handouts, basically, you don't got that dog in you. He's not going to do it. He's going to go out there. He's going to crumble under the pressure of this whole thing. I don't think he can put the actions behind his words to get it done. I'm calling for a miscut for the Gucci man.
I don't hate that perspective, I guess. Yeah, I don't hate that perspective because honestly, just let's call it what it is. Like, he's not played in front of a crowd like this in what, 2 years? Well, maybe a year, and that does matter, right? Like, I know these guys have been doing it their whole lives, but that does matter. And I think he probably knows that this is like, hey, I need a good showing to kind of get into these other majors without, bumming himself down to a local qualifier. But yeah, I don't hate your perspective, but I just think it's a very low bar for him to kind of surpass. So
yeah, I mean, I also think there's two things working against me here. One, no offense meant at all to any PGA professionals, but there are like 20 of those guys in this field. Probably only a couple are going to make the cut, and I believe the PGA Championship is also the one tournament that's like top 70 in ties.
yeah,
so you're going to get a few more guys through than you normally would. So yeah, maybe that works against my bold miscut proclamation here, but I will also say this is probably honestly the strongest field in golf since the split, because the Players Championship doesn't have those guys. This is all professionals. You don't have any amateurs qualifying, any of that kind of stuff. So, I mean, it's gonna be tough. It'll be a tough test.
Yeah,
And with
I know, like you said, the extended cut's probably going to help that cause as far as going against you. But yeah, it's definitely. I mean, with no amateurs and things like that, it's going to be. It's going to be definitely the hardest field in golf for sure.
Yeah, good week for potentially a make the cut parlay here. See if we can dial something up on that. All right, you had a good call. I thought this was a fun exercise. You wanted to go ahead and pick. You want to take your low PGA professional, right? I couldn't find a betting market for it, but I think just among the list, we're gonna back a PGA professional who we think is gonna go the lowest. This year's Michael Block, essentially. Maybe it is Michael Block. I don't know who you're taking, but not my pick. So
I think this needs to be a no Michael Block pick.
That's fair. I'm cool with that. I'm going to toss it to you first, though. Who is your PGA professional of the week here?
So I did a little bit of research. Obviously, don't know a ton, but I'm going with Brandon Shattuck. He's making his second appearance in the PGA Championship. 29 years old. Actually, excuse me. He's making his first appearance. My bad. Out of the University of Delaware. He won the 2023 PGA Professional Championship. Did not know that. He teed 16 this year to make the what do they call it? The group of 20 or whatever. So that's my pick for low PGA Professional.
All right, I think I found the cheat code for this, so my apologies for possibly taking the easy way out here. I'm going with Andy Svoboda. He's actually a former touring professional who is now a PGA pro. My guy here, he's 44 years old, been a pro since 2004, went to St. John's University. I mean, this is a guy that's actually won Korn Ferry Tour events. He's like a legitimate player out here. Let's see what his record is. He won 3 events on the Korn Ferry Tour. He's qualified for 5 U.S. Opens. He won 14 collegiate tournaments, including the 2001 Big East Conference Championship. So, look, a little bit long in the tooth, maybe. He's in his mid-40s, big boy track. But I'm going to lean on his touring days and his professional experience here, and hopefully he gets the low PGA Pro done.
So yeah, I did see him. The biggest worry was his age, right? Like, this is we've talked about, this is a young man's game now, right? you see it on the PGA Tour. A lot of these young guys are just dominating, just strictly based off of the fact that they're just younger, right? Like their bodies move better, they recover better. Andy Svoboda, you get a long day out there on a Thursday, and then even if he plays well Thursday, like dude. Like I'm telling you, playing 2 days last week in a row at 34 years old, it was hard, right? It was like the second day I'm getting there, and it's like my body's just like not moving the way I wanted it to move. So I can't imagine doing that in your 40s on a major venue. But I almost picked him, but just due to his age, I was a little hesitant.
Yeah, no, I totally get it. I was just scrolling through guys. I was like, maybe I'll take one of these guys that's played in like 7 of these at this point. I was like, oh shit, Andy's in the field. We're going with my guy.
Yeah. By the way, the Northeast district, like New York, like that whole corridor of PGA professionals is just absolute top notch. I think they've got like 8 guys from like New York alone.
Oh yeah,
that are in the field. So shout out to them for just having stellar club pros. So
yeah. I mean, tons of like old proper golf courses up in that part of the country, obviously. So yeah, storied history, New York golf. So way to represent for those guys. All right, I think it's time here. We this is another thing, we forgot to do this for the last major. We did this last year for all the majors. What headline are we reading on Monday morning? You're up.
Rory victorious at Valhalla.
Okay, I like it simple. Yeah, mine. I'm going with Rory too. Damn it, we're doing it again. This is why. I'm gonna go with a new decade. That's gonna be mine. So we're the decade is gone where the majors didn't come. We're on to a new one, more on the way. So I'm with you. I think it's a Rory McIlroy over Brooks Koepka. I'm wish casting this. That's my pick.
Okay, I like it. Yeah, yep. I mean, look,
speaking of picks,
we showed our cards, right? Like we're riding the Rory train this week. We showed our cards, but man, again, I can't get over. It just feels too right, and sometimes you just don't even overthink it, right? If it feels too right, it's probably right. So
yeah, I was getting ready to transition us with the speaking of picks, but I think speaking with like not overthinking it, we tried to do that last week for our one and done pick. I think I'm ready to ride with you. Wyndham Clark has no juice. Get him out of here.
Get him out. Absolutely no dog in that X-ray.
Oh, dude, I mean, I was texting you all week long. I told you I wanted to go to the top of the board. We agreed. I rolled off Rory and Xander's names. They're 1-2 the entire weekend. But then we came to consensus. We're like, all right, we'll save those guys. Let's go ahead and burn Wyndham. He's playing okay. It's fine. He brought absolutely nothing to the table this week. It was just like sadness on repeat. From go, what was it? I think I wrote it down here. T47. He brought us in $53,000. Bad news is, like 20% of people were on Rory. Another 20 were on Xander. So the 1-2, we just got absolutely lapped. We dropped like 600 places. We went from being like 600K out of the money to 2.4 million out of the money now.
Yeah.
The leader has like more than doubled us up at this point. We went from like turning the season around to like not a good spot very quickly.
Week. Yeah, in 1 week.
Yeah, so that's tough. I came into this one fully prepared to be like, all right, it's time to burn a live guy. Let's use, a Brooks or a Rahm or whatever. Those guys are still like 90% available for most people, and I think it's going to be a lot of people's strategy.
Yeah.
Rory is only 35% available to people. Worst case, all 35% of us take him. Do we just do it?
Look, we got to take him, right? Like, if we're going to ride the train, you can't have 1 foot off on the platform. We got to be fully on the train, okay? And the only way to really do that is if we're on him this week and our one and done.
I think you're right. You cannot get hit by the train if you're riding it. That's the approach we need to take right now.
Yeah, and we don't need to fall between the crack between the train and the platform. Like, we got to be fully on the train. And I think the only way to truly do that is take him in the one and done.
All right. I think we're doing it. Rory McIlroy, the official Back Nine Six Pack one and done pick of the week. Please, God, get us a win. Get us back in the good graces. We were so close. We just had that little taste of success, and then it was just gone that fast. So this would be a nice bounce back for us. And with that, you know what time it is. It is patio beers time. Prime patio beer season. It's hopefully we get to have some Thursday or Friday, one of the two. Just please give us the weather we need.
Look, that's where I'm heading after this. I'm gonna go. It's supposed to rain tomorrow. I'm gonna head out, catch the last of this nice weather for a couple days. So that's where I'm heading after this. But we're gonna go there. Actually, we're gonna get a pre-party to my patio. And so with Mother's Day, we got to honor our mothers, right? Got to. What is the funniest memory that you have of your mom?
Man. Yeah, you teased before this about putting us on the hot seat. You really did. I think I literally feel my seat getting hotter right now. Man, look, the crazy thing, I mean, this is the dumbest thing to ever say because it's most obvious, but like truly, like, you know, your parents are the people you know the longest, right? Like they've been in your life since the very first second. So like, right. So that's a long history to go through to try to find like the funniest moment. I do this to you all the time. Do you have one off the top of your head?
Oh God. Yeah, I definitely have one.
Okay. I'm going to let you lead off then while I think about it. Maybe you'll jog something loose here.
So I don't know how old I was. I do remember the scenario, but I don't remember how old I was. I remember my dad wasn't there. National championship game for basketball was on. And me and my brother sitting there. My mom's like, "Look, we're not cooking dinner tonight. Like, what do you guys want? Do you want chicken wings? You want pizza? Like, I'll even run out and get something, whatever." And we're like, "No, pizza's fine. Like, whatever." So and my brother goes, "Well, hold on." He goes, ask them for their pepperoni pizza deal that they have going for the championship game. My mom's so gullible. Look, love the lady to death. Love her to death. But she is so gullible. She's like, pepperoni. It's like pepperoni pizza deal. Like, ask him for it. So she gets on the phone. She's like giving the address, all this stuff, and then all the next thing you know, it's like, we're actually gonna do the pepperoni pizza deal tonight. The deal you have running, and like, and then you just saw her face just go red, like just completely red. And for those of you who don't know what pepperoni is, it is a dog treat. And like, she was so embarrassed. Like, I bet the person that was on the other line of the phone could like literally feel the embarrassment coming through the phone at that moment. And, you know, she's not making a call on a cell phone, right? Like, she's making it, which makes it like the memory that much funnier, is like seeing her call from like the wired in landline. But that, like, I just remember the embarrassment. There was a moment where I guess I was probably too young to remember this. I don't remember this at all. But she was like walking out of the mall, hit a patch of ice, and like slid under our car. I don't remember that. That would have probably been up there, but I don't remember it. But I do remember the pepperoni pizza being ordered that night. So.
Oh my gosh, pepperoni pizza. That's
pepperoni
tough.
Pizza.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really at a loss right now. There's some moment. I mean, I've got a ton of just like really fond memories with my mom, obviously, but like trying to think of something that's like laugh out loud funny I know there's something. I'm just not coming up with it on the spot. I mean, there is. So it starts in kind of a dark space here. Probably about 12 something years ago at this point. My dad actually had a pulmonary embolism and was like hospitalized really bad luckily made it out, all of that. But in the interim of that, my dad is kind of the backbone of the family, really, like very, very dependent upon him. He was always the one growing up that, did the majority of the cooking and stuff because my mom worked a lot of nights when we were growing up, that kind of thing. So anyway, dad's in the hospital. We're just trying to simply figure out, like, okay, we need to eat. Like, I know this is a tough time, but like, we gotta do something. So we're like, oh, well, we'll figure it out. We'll cook something. We were like, we'll do burgers. That seems easy, right? Mind you, I've never fired up a grill before. I don't know what the hell I'm doing on any of this stuff. Like, I've never made a patty in my life. Like, whatever. Literally, this was like sitcom level stuff happening for like an hour straight. Nobody in the house knows how to do anything. I'm out there yelling. Susie happened to be there. I'm yelling in the house, like, how do I even start the grill? I'm like chucking patties on the grill's not even started yet. Like, whatever, that's going on. My sister is inside. She's trying to water the plants that hadn't been watered for a few days on top of this like china cabinet. Completely misses like the inside liner of the thing, and there's just water pouring down the sides of the cabinet. I think, long story short, at the end of the day, we end up just like making grilled cheese or something, right? And we're all just sitting there. And we're like, it was just one of those where it was like, damn, like we really need dad around, which is obvious, but like it was. I just remember looking at my mom being like, what are we even doing? Like, truly, like, how is this possible that we have no clue how to make a dinner right now?
Yeah, you're looking at your mom
so
like, where's the manual at for this house? Like, how do I learn? Like, did he not leave notes around? Like, how do we figure this stuff
Right.
out? Yeah.
And I mean, at this time, I'm 21. I'm probably 21 years old or so. So it's not like I'm like a teenager. Like I'm, an adult, should be self-sufficient adult. And yeah, it was. So that was like within some darkness, a pretty funny moment. I also remember, our high school football team went to the state championship our freshman year. Well, you weren't there yet, but I was there. So like, my dad again had a slip disc. It was gonna be me and him that went, but he could not drive because he was just like down bad with his back. So my mom drove me up to Canton, the 3.5, 4 hours or whatever it is. And the car ride home was just one of those where it was like, you're just so slap happy. It's like 3 a.m. and you're just, I've had like 4 Code Red Mountain Dews, bag of Skittles. We got the wind. Yeah. It's December. The windows are down. We're like cranking AC/DC, putting our heads out the window just to try to stay awake, screaming the song, all that. So like that, like I said, not necessarily a laugh out loud funny moment, but that was, looking back, a fond memory and a pretty funny one too.
Oh yeah. Yep. Yeah. Shout out to all the moms, by the way. Happy belated Mother's Day.
Oh, yeah.
Look, I say this all the time. Without my wife, this house would be just a gigantic wreck on an hourly basis, maybe a minute basis. So shout out to all the moms out there.
Yeah, that definitely shout out to all the moms. And my wife as well, Susie. We her only ask for Mother's Day was she didn't want to have to make a decision or plan anything. So I tried to do all that stuff and quickly realized how inept I am at doing any of that. It turned into us not having enough time at all to do all the stuff we were trying to do. So yeah, definitely shout out to the moms who hold everything together.
Yeah, outside of my wife, my mom, she did a lot of following and golf. She was not a golfer. When, golfed here and there, but she was definitely not the golfer of the family. And she watched me in all tournaments, all this stuff. She was 99% of the time more nervous than I was most of the time. Like, I'd look over at her and I'm like, I can feel the nerves like radiating off of her towards me. But we had a good run there one summer where like we went to a couple tournaments. Like I'd won a tournament and then we like we went up to Canton. Funny you said that. We went up to Canton for a tournament and like it was just me and her for 2 days. It was really cool. We did the Football Hall of Fame and stuff like that. So if we're going to fond memory, I don't want to throw her under the bus too much with the pepperoni pizza, but but fond memory. I remember that summer pretty, after I won the tournament, we had like a 3.5 hour drive and, making phone calls and telling people what I just did. It was cool memory.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Well, actually, the story I told kind of ties into this question because it's basically going to be my answer for that. What is something that you learned embarrassingly late in life?
Man, that's such a good one because I feel like there's a lot of them. I'm
Yeah,
gonna
I
do
think
what
this
you did.
question's easier. I was gonna say this question's easier to answer like 10 years ago than it is now, because now I feel like we've kind
Probably,
of lived some shit.
probably. I'm gonna pass it to you and let me think a little bit here.
Yeah, mine's pretty straightforward. Like I mentioned, dad did like all the cooking in our lives, and my dad's just so good at stuff and like generally like would just kind of handle shit around the house. So like I just didn't have to do much growing up, really, like to be honest. And probably on me for not just jumping in and offering a little help here and there. But I'll never forget, Susie and I bought our first house in 2013, and I like we were trying to make a dinner or something one time, or she was sick. I can't exactly remember, but like, you know, she asked me to make her chicken noodle soup, and I was like, I don't know how to do that. And I'm talking like from a can, like a condensed can soup put into pot and turn on oven. Didn't know that was. I thought there was like a process to this. You got to add some water or something crazy, whatever. No. Also, did not know how to boil noodles. So we've come a long way in those 10 years. Enjoy cooking now. Love cooking. We cook our dinners every night. Love to get out on the grill. All that stuff. So I think that's for me just generally like the basics of cooking, like boiling noodles, heating up a can of soup, like very simple stuff that I should have known before I was like 24 or 25 years old.
Yeah. So now that you say that, like, I think like a basic thing in life that I've just like had. I don't want to say like this was the first one's not like super late in life. Um, but the first one definitely that is most vivid in my memory is going to college and having to do laundry for the first time and having no
Mhm.
ideas that like whites and colors don't go together. And I found out the hard way. So we had this like white one of our shirts for golf was white and getting ready to head out of town, just toss everything in there like colors, whites, that shirt's in there. And like I kept it for the memories, but like this white shirt was no longer white. It had like a tent, like not like oh it's a pink shirt now, but like it had a tent to it, and it was definitely not white. Um, and I remember early on in our relationship with my wife, she was like she saw me doing laundry. She was like, "What are you like? These don't go together, right? Like you don't put whites with colors for this reason right here. Like this shirt's no longer white." Um, so that was one that really sticks out that I like, and I was like 18 years old, but I feel like you need to know that stuff probably before you go to way of college. Like, it probably should be on the checklist of like, hey, like I should watch mom and dad do the laundry to see what the hell I'm going to be doing, right? Never did that. Found out the hard way. That one really sticks out to me. I'm trying to think of another one. Um, there's really not one that's like real late in life. I would say I learned to like follow instructions for cooking, but I still don't do that. My ADD kicks in. It's the reason why we got rid of this thing called HelloFresh. I'm sure everybody's heard of it. Like if my wife was not around to cook it, it was not getting cooked because I'm like, dude, I'm looking at these instructions. Like, I'm not making a sauce. Like, I'm not measuring shit out. Like, I'm just throwing stuff in, right? Um, the one that it's not me personally, but my wife now is she'll preheat the oven, but before, dude, like she just turn it on, throw it in. I'm like, yo, the cook time on the box is if you preheat it to this degree, it is not like you just throw it in as soon as it's like 80 degrees in there. Like you have to actually like preheat, then put it in, then cook it for 12 minutes. Like, so that was one. I think she always knew. I think she's just like, just screw it. Like, we'll just cook it an extra 4 minutes or something. Like, that's not the way it works. Yeah, I mean, that's the one that really stands out to me just because I had a shirt that was no longer white. Nothing, I don't know. Like, there's still stuff I need to learn with like plumbing and stuff like that that I would love to learn. But Nothing that's like blatant, I guess, that I can think of. I'm sure as soon as we get off here, I'm gonna think of something like, all right, yeah, that's pretty embarrassing. But
Oh yeah, I'll be the same way. And it's like the things that hit you kind of in the transitions of life, right? Like owning your first home, getting married, having a kid, like those kind of moments where it's like obviously you're hitting a huge learning curve. Um, so definitely those kinds of things. But I know there's stuff that's just like really like there's got to be things that exist like I don't know, like on a car or whatever, right? That's like, oh, that like I should know that this thing does that or this function of a certain whatever, and I just don't know it yet. But like I'm gonna find out like in a week, and I'll be like, holy shit! It's
you're gonna
those
find
things is what I was trying to.
you're gonna
Yeah,
find out the hard way. Like that's the only way to learn things. Like you just look, it's a trial by fire, right? Like you're gonna learn it the hard way. Like I know a couple girls that like found out, they had cars that burned oil, and it's like at some point, like you need to put oil and like you need to go get an oil change, right? You got to make sure there's oil in your car. They found out the hard way. Unfortunately, probably a very expensive mistake. Like I've heard that story a couple times, but I don't know. I don't have anything like blatant like that, but other than the shirt thing, like the laundry thing, um, was a disaster. Like it was a truly a disaster because it was like our second tournament year. I had to like wear that stupid tinted shirt for the next like 3 months. Like I hated it. Like we're wearing white today. Fuck. Like I'm not wearing white. I'm wearing like a tan color.
yeah.
You guys can wear
You
white.
got
Like,
your eggshell dragons polo on. Yeah,
matte eggshell is what my shirt was.
yeah.
Uh,
Oh man.
oh,
All right. I think that's a good way to wrap it up here. Again, thank you all for listening or watching if you're catching this on YouTube. Please, while you're there, subscribe, rate, and review. Leave a comment for us, ask us a question, whatever you want to do. And follow us on social media at Back96Pack. We are really looking forward to being on the ground on Friday at Valhalla. Pray for us for good weather, please. We want to actually see some golf. I don't want to be standing around through a rain delay for 12 hours. So, yeah, that'd be great.
yeah.
Anything
And
else to get us out of here?
And follow us too for like we're gonna be taking pictures all day. Like we're gonna might be like live posting stuff. I'm just gonna be too excited, like just way too excited.
Yeah, I should have asked you this. Is this your first major that you've been to?
Yeah. I'm so pumped. Um, look, if I don't know what religion people follow that listen to us, but if you have a religion, please pray for my bank accounts. It's gonna be an utter disaster when I get into that 30,000 square foot merch shop. When you have literally full size Louisville Slugger bats that are PGA Championship, logoed and everything like that. Just it's going to be a feat of epic proportions for sure.
All right, stay tuned for that. I'll be sure to catch Justin in the act in the PGA Championship store. We'll get some stuff out on the story for that to see how obscene the purchase is. So, on that note, we will see you guys next time. Cheers.
See ya.